We're gonna kick this off. So good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to United Way's Town Hall. My name is Lorraine Goddard, and I am the CEO for United Way, Windsor, Essex. I would like to, before we get started, begin by acknowledging that the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of the Three Fires Confederacy. Excuse me, my notes are going. Three Fires Confederacy of First Nations, comprised of the Ojibwe, the Odawa, and the Potawatomi. For those of us who gather near Leamington, we acknowledge the traditional territories of the Caldwell First Nations. Let us all take a moment to consider the lands on which we gather. So thank you everyone for joining us at this exclusive event today. As a CEO, I see the difference every day. Excuse me. I see the difference that your donation is making in the lives of youth every day. I see students who are empowered, more confident, and inspired. I watch as families learn and grow together. It is really, truly an amazing thing to witness. And I feel that this change would not be possible without you. Today, we want to take some time to report back to you and to share how your donation is supporting children and families in Windsor and Essex County. We'll hear from a panel of what I would like to describe as super talented and super committed United Way staff members who will be talking to us about the need in the community and how United Way is responding. And you know, we're going to talk about our path moving forward as we strive to build back this community even stronger than before. At the end of the session, we will have an opportunity for a question and answer period with you and to hopefully be able to answer any burning questions that you may have. So, you know, feel free to use the chat box or you can ask the question you know, person to person. A few housekeeping notes before we actually get started. If you're on social media today, please feel free to post about the event and to share your experience using the tag. I got to find the tag at United Way WE. When we wrap up today, please head over to www.weareunited5050.com to purchase your 50/50 ticket for our draw on September 24th, which is coming up very soon. And some technology notes: we do not want to let you know that this Zoom session will be recorded today and shared with other donors. So if you're not comfortable with that, please feel free to turn off your camera, no problem. And of course, finally, please bear with us. You know, technology can be a fickle thing sometimes. So hopefully we will get through the hour with very little issue around technology. So let's get started. You know, over the past year and a half, our community and, you know, obviously around the world, people have experienced a very difficult, challenging time. But through the darkness of the pandemic, we've also seen light. You know, people helping each other, volunteering their time, and adapting to the new realities of our world. But now more than ever, I believe we've all come to realize how much we need each other. You know, as donors, supporters of United Way, you are part of an unstoppable force of change. You truly help to power our work in the community, and we're so grateful for your support and for being with us today. You know, over the years, you've stepped up to support people in this community, and because of that, we've accomplished really great things. Excuse me. Really great things. And we've also learned about the barriers that children in this community are facing. And we know that knowledge is power. And because you can't fix a problem if you don't know it exists. And that's really been what we've strived to do, is really understand what's happening in our community. So in Windsor and Essex, just like other communities, thousands of children and youth have been experiencing poverty and need support on their path to success. You know, these children face barriers in the community, but we know that the pandemic has made it even more difficult. You know, children and youth have been faced with many hurdles. Their ability to participate fully in school, combating hunger, mental health issues, the barriers of technology and social isolation, which I think all of us have experienced as well. We know that some of the children are now falling even further behind as a result. And honestly, we can't let that happen as a community. When you support United Way, you're investing in a Cradle to Career strategy. That means your donation is supporting children and youth from the time they're born until they find a career. Our vision, and it's a lofty one, but an achievable one, is that a generation from now, Windsor-Essex County is a more prosperous community where children have the ability to achieve their dreams and reach their full potential. Over the past year, we've been working with residents, service provider, and other subject matter experts to develop new programs and services to support our work and to achieve the Cradle to Career community vision. We're doing this with Prosperous Partners. And to give you a bit of background, Prosperous is the name given to a collective of more than 50 system leaders representing healthcare, government, nonprofit, education, labor, and private sector businesses who are working together shoulder to shoulder, along with inspired residents to achieve our Cradle to Career community vision. And you know, it's all about collective impact, which means that the whole community is coming together to create opportunity for kids and their families that no single organization or sector can do on its own. United Way is one of those partners and holds the unique role of what we call backbone for the Cradle to Career community vision. You know, we're proud to be able to power Prosper Us and provide a foundation for the entire strategy. You know, I like to say that we're the engine that drives the work forward. We do the heavy lifting as backbone, planning, convening, facilitating, supporting the partnership, leveraging its investments, evaluation, data collection and review, community engagement, program development, marketing communications, and even more. Sounds like a pretty big job. Cradle to Career partners value equity. You know, working with an equity lens means that some kids and families in certain neighborhoods need more help to get to the finish line than others. And you know, the finish line is being a fulfilling career where they can be self-sufficient. And we plan to provide children and families with wraparound supports they need to succeed. So our initial focus with this equity lens based on data is in 3 priority neighborhoods. And these are West Windsor, Downtown Windsor, and Leamington. So together with our dedicated partners, we're building solutions to solve problems. And we're going to start by focusing on food and nutrition, mental health, and out of school supports, and continue to support our signature On Track to Success program. And all of this to commence in 2022. We're moving through these 6 milestones, which follow a child from birth to career. Right now, we're focusing on milestone 2 and 3 to start with our investments, and we'll continue to work on milestones 1, 4, 5, and 6, with even more investments coming in the year. So with that in mind, I think it's time for us to dig in on some of these topics. So let's meet our panel. We have with Sorry about that. It looks like I was muted. Danica Brown, our Ujima Initiative Coordinator, Kristen Hens, Post-Secondary and Alumni Coordinator, Jessica Fazio, our Relationship Manager, Donor Engagement and Stewardship, and Carlene Nielsen, Manager of Strategic Community Engagement. So let's begin with the work of the residents, the people who are the heart of our community. Carlene is a part of our backbone team at United Way and is responsible for directly engaging residents in the Cradle to Career strategy design work. Carlene, can you tell us a little bit about how we've been engaging the community and working with residents to learn more about the barriers they're facing?
Absolutely. Thanks, Lorraine. And good afternoon to everyone on the call. Yes, we've been really busy over the past year and a half with our community engagement efforts and bringing residents together from the 3 priority neighborhoods to really hear directly from all of them. And when I reflect on our initial engagement activities in 2019, when we set out to really explain this cradle to career vision to the community, it was really encouraging to hear the positive reaction to our plan and the focus to prioritize the voices of residents in this in the creation of the Cradle to Career strategy. We were speaking with residents on porches, on sidewalks, and at community events when we could get out there and do all of that great work. And we heard many stories about the challenges, the realities, and what people are sort of dealing with in their day-to-day, and where the needs for action are. And it's really these voices that are critical to our work. And it is through their meaningful inclusion in the formation of solutions that we're really doing our work a little bit differently in terms of community engagement. I think on some of the work we've done in the past, and we would often look at the data and the perceived needs in the community and make decisions for people. We're funding programs in these neighborhoods, of course, but the reality is that sometimes they're just not hitting the mark. There may be too many barriers for residents in those communities to really meaningfully take up the program and for it to have its desired impact. So, for example, we hear things about residents struggling to find adequate or affordable transportation to attend a program. Maybe it's about timing and that just simply not working around scheduling for busy parents and youth. And sometimes in some cases, the programs are not really addressing a key need, and so therefore that needs to be adjusted. So, you can imagine for some of these barriers, the solutions, can be relatively simple and often they can be really complex, but it's really our, driving a need to talk to the residents and figure out really what's working, what's not, and more importantly, what we can do to address it. So it's really to this end that we've authentically involved residents in decision-making in working groups that make up what we've called the Community Action Network. And I just really quickly want to demonstrate this involvement by telling you a bit about what we've been doing alongside residents who are members of the Community Action Network. Since November 2019, we've invited 75 residents to join working groups that represent these 3 priority neighborhoods. Residents are, intentionally selected through an applications that they're reflective, that they suit the milestone, right? So their parents or their youth that match that milestone age, and they can really speak to the experience of poverty and living in day-to-day in their neighborhoods. These residents attend bi-monthly meetings and work at 5 different working groups focused on early years, middle years, and post-secondary level issues. And so this is totaled like a whopping 2,300 hours of meeting time spent by residents, co-creating solutions, and that is to be funded out of this great work that we're doing together, and that, of course, donors are supporting. Together, residents have identified 50 barriers that prevent children from success at these key milestones. So you can imagine these are a lot of really, long conversations, and we're hearing some very interesting information. These barriers span across housing, food and nutrition, health, education, and employment. And residents are really vocal that in the priority neighborhoods, accessing services and programs can often be difficult, due to things like hours of operation and transportation, some of those things I was mentioning earlier, all the way up to accessing information in the appropriate language, and of course the need for technology in some cases to effectively participate. So it's also important to recognize that not only have we identified barriers with our resident groups, but we've also identified over 350 community assets in the priority neighborhood. So, where they're recognizing as well that there are challenges, but there's also a lot of strength in the neighborhoods. And they've pointed out that there's a lot of great programs and services that could either be modified or scaled up to really make that big difference that we're looking for. So in our work to design these solutions, we'll of course consider barriers, but also engage and draw on the strength of these community assets. So, when I reflect on all of this work that I've been lucky to be a part of, I think for me and the team, it's really been humbling to watch residents engage with this new way of working, find their voice, be engaged, speak up and out on behalf of their community with so much passion. And really, to continue to put the work in day to day, despite all the challenges that, we're currently facing in our everyday lives. So super, super inspiring. You're muted.
Sorry, I'm mute. It is really inspiring, and it's really important and really critical community engagement work that you've been undertaking. Can you tell us what's next for the work with residents, service providers, and our subject matter experts?
Yeah, for sure. Lots of work on the horizon. Of course, we're going to start from the position of taking this great feedback, this wealth of knowledge that we've gained through working with residents, and then now bring into the fold the relevant community organizations, systems leaders, and really continue to do solution design work. So that might be new solutions or really scaling up and focusing on those things that are working that just need that little extra push to help get kids, the great support that they need. And really specifically in terms of that solution design to date, we've focused on improving mental health, out of school time supports, and food and nutrition for middle years children. As you mentioned earlier, Lorraine, we're really focused on that, that group, right? We've called milestone 2 and 3. And out of this work, we're really excited to be launching our first solutions ever from this work, right? And for kids in particular for elementary school. And this will include wrap around out of school support programs in each of the priority neighborhoods, really focusing around like academic outcomes, right? And bolstering sort of the learning they're getting in school in that out of school time space. A robust in-school meal program in the priority neighborhoods, really focus on filling those little tummies with healthy meals. And finally, for mental health, looking at enhancing supports in that space for children, really aimed at reducing wait times for support. So we're really optimistic that by late 2022, we expect to be delivering solutions for early years children, middle years youth, and young adults entering the workforce as we continue to solution design around those latter milestones. And right now we're really working hard with our early years working group, hearing from residents that we need more pre and postnatal supports for young and new parents and new families and babies, of course, and working with our high school and post-secondary attainment working group, and really hearing about the need for more support to ensure youth are graduating and are set up on a path to post-secondary education that's going to, at the end, lead to stable, good paying jobs with benefits in our community. And so looking forward to, I guess, the rest of this year, we are planning to recruit to include the voices of older youth to look at supports needed for young adults entering the workforce. And this will really round out our full portfolio of cradle to career resident engagement. And we'll have all, the voices around each of the milestones and all of that work happening. So like lots of work, lots of input from the community, and lots of energy being put towards change, Lorraine.
Yeah, I mean, that's what this is really all about, because we know that, these barriers, and you've only listed a few, have existed for a long time and have really made it difficult for people to move forward in their lives, and children who are growing up with their families dealing with these barriers and their barriers. You can see why it would be difficult for young children to be able to achieve all that they can. So, we think about the need in the community. Many of those issues like food security, access to mental health, and childhood poverty have been a constant in our community for so long. And it's important now to take stock of what those barriers are, the issues are, and to work with residents and ensure that the programs and services and actually, I like to say solutions, because we really do need to start solving problems. It's not about another program or another service. It's really about, here is a barrier. How do we remove it? How do we solve this problem and really get to the root causes of poverty in our community? And so, we're working together to remove these barriers so that young people again can be all that they can and achieve success and be self-sustainable as they turn into young adults. Kristen, I'd like to move on to you, and your role has evolved recently, but for many years you were a success coach with our On Track to Success program. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience in that role?
Yeah, absolutely, Lorraine. So in the last 3 years as a success coach, I've seen a lot of these barriers that we have been mentioning in play. One of the barriers include that access to reliable technology and internet. And this past year was particularly challenging with COVID, school being online. And so we worked with our partners and the school boards to set the students up with computers and reliable internet. And now transportation is another barrier with many of our students and families, whether it's the students getting to school or families and students getting to their appointments. With the support of donors, we are able to provide bus passes and transportation to ensure students are attending school every day. Food security is another barrier that our families are facing. Many families do not have the means to buy fresh fruits and vegetables or sustainable food options. And the support from our donors allows our program to provide grocery gift cards to our families, so they're able to do that. And lastly, mental health is a huge barrier in our community, especially with our vulnerable populations, and especially over this past year with COVID. And I'd like to just kind of move on to a more positive note, however. As much as we're talking about all these barriers, I have seen so many positive changes with the students due to some of these barriers being removed. So with the support of our donors, we have seen less chronic absenteeism with our students, which means that they're attending school much more frequently and more than they had been perhaps in grade school or without the program supports in place. And in turn, we're seeing that their academic achievement is much higher, especially compared to students in similar socioeconomic standing who are not part of our program. And this has actually been proven through our third-party evaluator, Dr. Sinha at the University of Windsor, who conducts an evaluation on our program each year. But most importantly, I would love to drive home the point that On Track to Success is like a family. So our wonderful donors, mentors, volunteers, and staff, we all come together to provide these wraparound supports that are truly changing lives.
I couldn't agree with you more, Kristen. The positive changes that we see in the students is inspiring. I mean, I get teary-eyed, feel like I'm kind of like the mama bear or something. And we're so fortunate to be able to work with these students and their families and our school board educators in delivering our On Track to Success program. This year, the program will be expanding into downtown Windsor, which we're super excited about. So we'll be active in all 3 priority neighborhoods, West Windsor, Leamington, and now in downtown Windsor. But we're also launching new extensions of the On Track to Success program to speak to the unique needs of youth that are in our program. And one of our new extensions is On Track on Campus. And it's an example of that. Kristen, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, for sure. So as we all know, the On Track to Success program has been incredibly successful over these past 6 years. However, what we have realized as our students are graduating from high school, we're noticing that there is still a huge need for support. And many of the students still need that extra support as they transition into post-secondary education. I think a lot of us here, understand that it's such a huge monumental shift. And a lot of these students are really struggling to navigate this new chapter in their lives. So we also know that if we can get them through that first year of post-secondary education, the likelihood of them finishing their program increases exponentially. So in order to answer that need, we have decided to expand our On Track to Success program and have thus created On Track on Campus, which is designed to help college and university-bound students who have graduated from the On Track to Success program navigate their first year of post-secondary education. And in this new role, which I have recently moved into, and I'm very humbled and excited to start on this journey, we will also be supporting our alumni. So those students that perhaps have chosen to take a year off of school or explore other endeavors or work and weren't quite ready to, attend post-secondary right after high school. And our goal is to work with them to re-engage into post-secondary programs or trades programs. Like I said, I'm so very excited to see what this new role brings, and I can't wait to see our students thrive as they enter this new chapter in their lives.
Oh, thank you, Kristen. I know I'm very anxious to see what's in store for On Track on campus in the near future too. So I know you'll do a fantastic job. As an organization, we have been taking a serious look at our work in the community through the lens of equity, diversity, and inclusion. Our staff have been involved in extensive training and reflection to ensure our workplace culture and work within the community reflects these ideals. Diverse voices are being welcomed to the table to reflect the communities that we serve. And United Way is listening, we're learning, setting goals to create a more equitable, diverse, and inclusive space for all. Part of the work has been to look within our own programming and really acknowledging the diverse student base that we're working with. And through this examination, the Ujima initiative was born, a new empowerment initiative for some of the youth in our On Track to Success program. Sanika, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. So I'll give a bit of a background on the name. So Ujima is actually a Swahili word meaning collective work, union, and association. In 1966, it was actually adopted into Kwanzaa as the third principle. And Kwanzaa was formed to unite Black Americans and to bring together and to form a sense of community. So the third principle of Kwanzaa is actually collective work and responsibility. It is a commitment to active and informed togetherness, to build and maintain the community together, and to make our brother and sisters' problems our problems and to solve them together. Racially marginalized youth face additional cultural and racial barriers navigating through secondary and post-secondary school. The Ujima initiative is actually an equity strategy of On Track, and the program will be enriching On Track by providing relevant cultural support and programming. So we wanted to make sure that this work was authentic and it met the specific needs of the students. So we actually started with focus groups. Black On Track students and their caregivers were given the opportunity to participate. So we actually held 3 student sessions and 2 parent sessions. So we asked the participants about the effectiveness of the program, about the cultural appropriateness of On Track, the relationship with staff members, and how we can improve their cultural identities. Overall, the feedback was actually really, really positive, but there were some learnings. Participants told us that they actually wanted to see more relevant cultural and religious representation. They also wanted to see more diverse staff and volunteers, and they wanted more opportunities to explore the community and engage in culturally relative programs. As a staff member, I actually really appreciated the honest feedback, and I really saw this as a learning opportunity. We're always open to receive feedback from our families because it's really important for us as staff to support them in the best of our abilities in the ways that they need. It's imperative that as we continue with the work that we do, that we continue to adapt and expand On Track. I'm super excited to be leading this program and creating environments where our students can build up their skills and build up their well-being in culturally relevant spaces.
Well, we're really excited as well to see how the Ujima initiative will help meet the unique needs of some of our students. But there's more to it than what you described. Can you tell us the types of additional support students in this program will receive?
Absolutely. So students in the program will continue to receive On Track to Success supports, but they will actually also have access to others. So here are some examples. The first is community mentoring, and that is to actually build up positive character development, peer and family relationships, and community relations. Students will be paired with a Black mentor volunteer in the community whose supportive relationship will further expand their network of community and caring adults. The second is mental wellness. So we're actually going to be providing a safe and positive environment where Black students can learn to prioritize their mental health. Third is cultural exploration themes. And that is to educate students about the elements that bind the Black community together. And it will also highlight the accomplishments and barriers that have been overcome and ways that we can all continue to embrace differences and work together. And lastly, we'll have social events to provide a safe space where Black students can relax and come together socially.
Wow, I'm really excited to get this program underway. Thank you very much, Zanika, for sharing this with us. And I'm sure we're going to be sharing more with donors as the program rolls out, and we'll see exactly, the impact it'll have on our some of our students. So now let's pivot to talk about some of the work that was done over the past few months through our Summer Eats and Backpack for Success programs. Jessica, can you tell us a little bit about these?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Lorraine. Well, we know that 1 in 3 food bank users in Windsor-Essex County are children, and many kids who rely on in-school nutrition programs struggle to get enough to eat during the summer when school's out, and obviously those programs aren't operating. So this past summer, as we've done in years past, we worked with our partners to deliver the Summer Eats for Kids drive-through pickup program. The program provides children and families with a basket of healthy snacks, fruits, and vegetables every week during the summer months. It's geared towards school-age children and their families, where we know that some extra support might be needed to reduce a family's grocery bill and to ensure that kids have nutritious food choices over the summer months, which, we often know those snack foods and fresh vegetables and things come at a higher cost.
Mm-hmm.
This summer, we were able to distribute over 3,600 food boxes to kids and families in Leamington, West Windsor, and downtown Windsor. As you can imagine, the program was supported by many donors and sponsors and many volunteers who came together to make this possible. Through the Summer Eats sites, which you're seeing some great photos of, we also operated our Backpacks for Success program. This year, we were able to hand out 2,000 backpacks and an additional $15,000 in Staples gift cards so that children could have a successful start to their school year. Overall, it was such a successful summer, and we're super proud of what we could accomplish. But also, to be honest with you, Lorraine, seeing the extreme need in our community for food boxes and backpacks was really difficult. We're, so honored to help, and we see such a relief when we pass a parent, a food box or give a child their backpack, but it's tough because the need seems to get greater every year. Once again, this year, we ran out of backpacks to give to children. We were surprised that even with 2,000 backpacks, it just wasn't enough. Parents and children were lining up 2 hours early to receive their bags on those distribution days. And it reinforced for us that the need is really, really there in our communities. Families need support for basic things like food and school supplies for their kids.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Jessica. I too echo your comments. The need is definitely increasing, and the pandemic has not helped the situation. So you're right, we need to come together and do as much as we can to support these children and families. I know that a lot of volunteers made this work possible as well. The volunteers are so much like our donors, the heart of United Way. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, we were so fortunate to work with over 125 volunteers this summer, both, from the community as well as from partners and workplaces and even donors who supported the program. It's always so incredible to me to see our partners, long-term partners, and also new folks come out and, physically help us hand out food boxes and backpacks. Every day we had volunteers spend about 3 hours on site, setting up, tearing down, getting organized, screening and welcoming families, and of course, loading trunks and wagons. Each week we welcomed hundreds of families across our 6 sites. Mm-hmm. And, even with the challenges of COVID, our volunteers, community volunteers, workplace volunteers, stepped up, and they made both programs so successful. I heard, over and over just how rewarding it was for them to be a part of it. And that's what it's all about. It feels so good for us as well.
Yeah, thanks, Jessica. I had the opportunity to go several times to the distribution sites during the summer. And I was, I guess I shouldn't be surprised at this time, but still, despite the heat, despite the lineups, whether you're in a car or people who are walking with their children in hand to pick up a box and carry the box home. It's just so many people out there. But what it really reinforces for me is that, yes, we need to make sure no one goes hungry. But what's more important is that we tackle those root causes. We need to help people become self-sufficient. Like, we need to create a community where people don't need food boxes. People don't need backpacks, that they have the ability to support themselves, because ultimately that's what people want to do. People want to be self-sufficient. I mean, that is the human experience. So, our Cradle to Career strategy is really about that. Ultimately, it's about lifting people, helping them, get them on a path to success so they can be independent. So thank you for all of your work, and to our donors and to our volunteers who helped us over the summer. There's some other examples of the support that United Way and its funded partners have been providing over the past year, and I'll just share a few examples. We provided out of school supports, and last year your donations supported over 400 students through local out of school programs. But because of COVID, our partners had to pivot their service to respond to different emerging needs during COVID-19 pandemic. So, we were pivoting at the same time we were trying to address emerging needs. And, the not-for-profit sector is, in terms of its capacity to leverage technology and to be able to deliver programs with technology, we really had to look at how are we going to support our community to be able to do this kind of work. And so we created a pilot program, and we worked with 7 or 8 different organizations. And we made sure that students had technology. So over 145 laptops were distributed to students and their families. Curriculum was developed, and training was provided to the organizations delivering the program, and we evaluated our progress. So there was a lot of learning where we have started to build capacity to do that, but we have more work to do in that area. Because even despite when, I'm not going to say if, when COVID-19 finally is not interrupting our lives so much, I think technology will continue to remain an important part of how we connect with each other. So that was another great opportunity that happened over the past year. And so when kids were participating with online programming, they received their homework help, they received delivered books and activity kits, and food were delivered. They were able to connect with a caring person, virtually. And, we did whatever we could to support families during the pandemic. And then also, as has been an ongoing need in our community, is ensuring access to emergency food support. So again, organizations, the Unemployed Help Center pivoted to deliver or to make accessible food boxes through drive-through distribution sites across our region. And so last year, they, gave out food boxes that supported about 28,000 people in our community with emergency food supports. And then, of course, mental health. We all know, and I think many of us have experienced the social isolation and its impact on our mental well-being. And so we wanted to make sure that people had access to emergency mental health counseling and supports, including one-to-one counseling for people across our region. So there was additional, not only our base funding for that, but additional dollars went to increase access to emergency mental health supports. So about 600 people access those counseling supports, and we made sure that no one had to wait or pay more than they could afford. So we're really grateful to all our partners, Unemployed Help Center, Family Service Windsor-Essex, Big Brothers Big Sisters, just to name a few, that we work with on these really important services to the community. So thank you to all of our funded partners for the work that you do. It's important work, especially during this past year while we all tried to deal with this pandemic. But before we move on, I'd like to take a moment to show you a video about Amber. Amber is one of our graduates of the On Track to Success program, and honestly, her story is very inspiring.
Currently at Wilfrid Laurier University, I'm studying geography, community engagement, and Indigenous history, because those are all aspects of things I've been passionate about since I was a kid. I'm going to do a master's program for urban planning, but geography is like a really great way to enter that field, and I'm just really passionate about it. And my first year was absolutely incredible. Like, people say, oh, high school is the best 4 years of your life, but I have to disagree. I think the first year of university really saw a lot of personal growth. I got involved on campus. I was the community outreach coordinator person in charge for my entire building, and that was just something I found to be one of the most both nerve-wracking and exciting experiences of first year. Getting to run events, getting to see community members in a community I hadn't grown up in. So that was just it was a new environment for me, and I'm very thankful for the program because I never would have known I like community engagement so far if I hadn't been a part of this program. When you're in school, a lot of teachers talk about college and your future and stuff, which is good, but then you think about your own situation at home and you're like, we don't even have money sometimes for groceries. How are we ever going to be able to afford going to school and paying for books and all these things? And when you're a kid, you just don't understand why other kids really get those things and you don't. But it was just very stressful for me, I know, as a kid, because I always felt like I wasn't at the same level as other students. I'd never get to see the success that they would, simply because I didn't have the opportunities as a child as they did. You kind of internalize it when you grow up in that environment, that it's somehow your fault and that's why you can't succeed. Program's very helpful in the sense that it provides the financial and it provides the tutoring, but you also meet so many leaders and so many people who believe in you that you didn't have before. The On Track program has helped me so much to become myself, to become the best version of me, and to just have a growth mindset. That's one of the best things they taught me too, was that you can always move forward. You don't have to look back at your situation and be like, this held me back. You can be like, this is what happened and this is how I improved from that situation. I think the program has been the biggest influence on my life out of anything, really, because I've seen so much personal growth from the opportunities I've been provided. I've seen how the support has changed me emotionally. As a leader, like my sponsors, I couldn't be more thankful for. I wouldn't be where I am today without them. I wouldn't be where I am today without the program. I would tell other On Track to Success students to not be afraid. I know Liam puts a lot of opportunities on your plates, and I know it feels very overwhelming at times because you feel like, this isn't me, like I don't know if I can do this, I've never had to do this before. Not only listen to Liam, but listen to what's in your heart. Forget about the fact that you come from this situation and just think about, where do I want to be? What do I see myself as? Take away the barriers. Where would you want to be as a person? What do you want to do with your life? Because that's the most important thing you have to listen to, yourself, without the barriers in your mind.
Wow, she is just incredible. I remember Amber when she first, she was in the first cohort of students in the Leamington program, and just the growth in her development, in her leadership. Honestly, it just, I can't tell you how proud we are of her. And we absolutely wish Amber much success as she embarks on kind of her new journey in university. And I said it before, I'll say it again, she's going to be the next CEO of United Way. So she's just outstanding. But it's because of the support of all of you that Amber has this opportunity to become all that she can be. We know there are so many more children in the community that could benefit from the On Track to Success program and all of the programs that we support. And our donors and sponsors and volunteers make all of that possible. So let's take a little bit of time now to open it up to you, our audience. If you have any questions for me today, please feel free to raise your hand, or if you're more comfortable, drop your question in the chat box. So, any questions that anyone has? I know that we had one that came in ahead of time, and the question was really about our investments. Because, we're shifting to cradle to career, and yet, we had been supporting a lot of different programs in the organization. And so, it is a transition. We're really wanting to ensure that we don't leave gaps in the community, that people are supported. And so although our focus is cradle to career, it really does encompass the lives of children from birth till they start a career and their families. And it looks at all of the social determinants of health, like housing and food and education and employment and all of those things. So as the design work with our residents and organizations and experts continues, and we actually have interventions or programs to invest in, you will start to see the shift over to these new things. So some are going to be existing things that are working in the community, and we're going to continue to invest in them, or we're going to scale them up, or maybe they need a little bit of tweaking so that they're more impactful. And then there are going to be new things that we're going to invest in. And so to address gaps or to remove barriers. And so that is the work right now that we are undertaking. And so we will continue to keep you informed as to our progress over the next year. Any other questions?
Darlene, did you have your hand up?
Yes, I did. Thank you. I was just, I guess where my mindset's going, because I know so much work has gone into this, right from the beginning, right?
Mm-hmm.
When the idea was sparked. I'm just wondering, do you find there's going to have to be a lot of pivoting now because of COVID? Because now, unfortunately, we're already seeing class dismissals,
Mm-hmm.
school closures. And my heart, I just think of those kids that, they struggle with the online, they don't have the one-on-one. And I know like we can tap on and add on, but do you almost see almost like new programs that are going to have to be developed because of what we've
Mm-hmm.
went through?
Yeah, absolutely. We're having those conversations at Prosper Us table, the Leadership Council table. We're having them with our board and our staff team. Like, we're seeing the impacts on young people. And, none of us, I think, can deny, particularly around mental health, right? And also academic achievement. I mean, if you're, have a student who's barely making it, and then you have that student, in class, out of class, in class, out of class, technology, they have, one laptop that's got to be shared amongst how many kids in the family. We're seeing the decline. So we're going to have to do more, and we're going to have to really hone in on how do we help these young people catch up through mental health supports, through really intensive wraparound out of school supports, and work really hand in glove with our educators and other professionals in the community. I mean, yeah, absolutely. That is being discussed in real time. And we only hope that the pandemic really gets under control. It doesn't get any worse, because again, like today, you read like St. Joseph's School had to just close down and send everyone back home. So that doesn't bode well for sure. So yeah, to answer your question, and really simply, yes, we are looking at how are we going to really tackle these issues and the impacts of the pandemic. Any other questions? You can always, if something comes up after our session today, you can always contact me or anyone on my team. We're more than happy to answer any questions you may have. So, if there are no more questions, I think what I will do is I will thank all of you for joining us here today. We know that childhood poverty continues to affect way too many kids in our community. And as we mentioned earlier, we're very excited to be launching our first round of new Cradle to Career solutions for children in elementary school this year. We recognize this process takes time, right? Like, we're very authentically engaging residents to make sure that, these solutions are designed that are going to remove barriers, not put up new barriers. And so working with residents, partners, and other organizations, and especially virtually, it does take much time. But we know that by doing this work collectively with our partners, with elevating resident voices, our families, our children at the center of our work, we'll be able to really unlock their potential for our kids in our community. And we're working differently. And when you're working differently, you're flexing new muscles and you're developing new ways. And that, of course, does take time as well. But it's an exciting time. And as donors, we want you to be with us every step of the way, because honestly, this work is simply not possible without you. I want to end today by asking you to continue supporting United Way. Whether you're a donor, a sponsor, a workplace champion, a volunteer, your support, your advocacy helps us to spread the word so others can support this vision for our community. We're really committed. We want to build back better than before, and we can, but only with your help. So thank you for being with us today. It means a lot to us that you would take time out of your own busy schedule to learn more about our work this past year. So keep posted. There's exciting things that are around the corner that we're going to share with you. So stay tuned and have a great day. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
You too. Thank you.